Hello everybody, welcome to the COVID-19 edition of Pharmacology 1. I'm going to walk you through some changes that are happening to our course in particular and where to find new information. So, change number 1, you're going to see me online instead of just in class. How exciting, I get to come into your homes. Change number 2, we are doing everything online, of course. That's the biggest change. And then we're going to look at the syllabus and look at some of your assignments, how they might have changed, as well as your final exam has changed. All of these things have been updated. So the goal for us, the faculty have been advised to update the syllabus to reflect online teaching until the end of the semester. There is a chance that everything will clear up with COVID-19 and we'll be able to go back to class in person for the end of the semester. However, the reality is we just don't know. So we don't know. It's day by day, hour by hour. We're getting updates all the time. My inbox is insane. So we're just going to plan for complete online delivery, and if things change, you will be updated. So right now, this is our contingency plan. That being said, it is stressful times right now. I appreciate that in my own life, it's quite stressful just in this environment that we're in. And as a student, I imagine that there's additional stressors that are present for you. I know a lot of you are at home with kids without childcare. A lot of you either are at work in scary times or you're unable to work and you're working through some financial challenges. So I certainly appreciate that there is a lot of stress for the students right now. That being said, I'm going to try to make my course material very flexible so that you can review it whenever works for you within a certain timeline. And also I'll be available via email as much as possible. And I'll have some live sessions as well that hopefully you can tune into to ask questions and go through some extra help. I'm hoping to keep the extra help sessions going. Lastly, of course, if you're really stressed out and you need to talk to somebody, Georgian College Counseling Department is still available, not in person, but they are offering remote counseling sessions. So please take advantage of that. It's the one time in your life that counseling will be free for you. So please log into your student portal to access the counseling services. Okay, having a look at our Blackboard. Just pop onto Blackboard and then click into the updated syllabus. So you'll see that the syllabus says Syllabus 2020, January, ignore January. It's the COVID-19 update. And we'll just download that, which I'm not going to because it's already downloaded. Here we go. Okay, so let's have a look at how your syllabus has changed. I'm just going to move me over here. So we've gone through weeks up to weeks 9, and then this week is week 10, but we don't have any in-person classes this week because it's our contingency planning week, which means we've had a week filled with meetings as well as training sessions and talking about how to produce things online rather than in person. So looking at March 28th, week 11, we're looking at antiparasitics part 1, antiparasitics part 2. Both of those are captured within week 10. What to expect for this week? You will have reading guides and reading guide quizzes for both components, and you will have some supportive materials as well. So currently, if you check out your Blackboard, I'll just pop over here. If we go into weekly learning, and we click on week 10-11, because I've combined them, you'll see that there is Antiparasitics Part 1 lecture video, Antiparasitics Part 1 PowerPoint, Antiparasitics Part 1 reading guide. Next up, today I'll post the reading guide quiz, which will be available until next Wednesday. I'll post that for part 1, and then hopefully I'll have the reading guide and the reading guide quiz posted for part 2 tomorrow. So you should have just under a week remaining for the reading guides and the reading guide quizzes. The benefit to having the reading guide quizzes there still is this time, of course, you also have the option to watch the PowerPoint video first before you complete the reading guide quiz. So this might actually benefit some of you while completing your reading guides and your quizzes, It's just something to keep in mind. You might want to watch the video ahead of time. It may clarify some questions for you. The next component, so I will post the reading guide quiz, and then after that I'll post some supplementary resources. So the supplementary resources will most likely be something like a crossword or a fill in the blank activity that will help just solidify some of your learning for the course material. So those are things that will be posted every week for each section that we're discussing. So please expect for every week a lecture video, reading guide quiz, and then supplementary information. I'm also going to be hosting extra help sessions, and those will take place, as far as I know, I'm maintaining them on Wednesdays at 4. If that doesn't work for anybody, just email me, but as far as I know, that can work with me. I also am dealing with 2 kids at home as well, so I'm trying to make it work for both myself and for you guys and maintaining its flexibility. So the extra help sessions, hopefully Wednesday at 4, and the plan for the extra help sessions would be to do Kahoots, so be able to tune in and do a Kahoot to help reinforce your learning, and then also take up the crosswords, so the crosswords or the extra help material that's put out there. So that will be part of the extra help session. I'll also record the extra help sessions and then post them to Blackboard once they're complete. So if you're not able to tune in at that time because of your commitments in life, that's totally okay. I will record them and post them for you to go back and review as needed. Then I will have another session, which I suspect will be on Thursday. I just have to confirm the time. And that will be sort of like my office hours. And within that time period, I will go through the reading guides. So I'll work our way through the reading guides and answer any questions about them. So your quizzes will be due before that Thursday session. And then I'll go through the reading guides and make sure that everybody's very clear on the information. So those are things to expect weekly for parasitology. I don't teach parasitology. Those are things to expect weekly for pharmacology. I hope that's helpful. And then let's just have a quick look at your syllabus to discuss further changes. So this week coming up, so next week, we've got 2 parts of antiparasitics. For those of you who don't have their first case study marked yet, I hope with all intents and purposes to have them marked by tonight. Unfortunately, the marking has had to go on hold in order to roll out all of this contingency planning. So those of you who don't have your case study marked at this point, I really appreciate your patience, and I will get it marked hopefully tonight. So next week, we've got antiparasitics part 1 and part 2, and then we also have a second case study assigned. And then of course, next week you have 2 reading guide quizzes. Remembering with the reading guides as discussed in class as well, you will have a longer period of time to complete them. So you'll have from whenever they're posted until the sort of end of day, essentially on Wednesday. And for each quiz, instead of 5 minutes, you'll have 10 minutes. So you'll have 10 minutes for 5 questions. So hopefully those things will help. Week 12, we'll have antiparasitics, part 3, and then we'll also have a lecture discussing disinfectants and antiseptics. And then you'll have a reading guide quiz for part 3 of antiparasitics posted. And then also case study number 3 is assigned, and case study number 4 is assigned. Now, for the antiseptics and disinfectants, that is a chapter in your textbook. It's up to you. It's probably a good idea for you guys to read it at some point to know the ins and outs. But for me, I'm just going to make you a lecture. I'm going to record it, and I won't give you a reading guide based on the text. So if you're finding it's very overwhelming to do all of this at home while it's online, then that's okay. Just do the lecture, and then the case study will be mostly based on the lecture itself. So don't stress too much about squeezing that extra chapter in. And then week 13, again, this is kind of going to be a catch-up week for you if you're feeling overwhelmed. At the end of the week, your case study 2 and case study 3 will be due. And then also, we'll do some review. So in our sessions, I'll post review materials for you guys, and then we can have some of those hopefully in person or live, not in person, but live digital sessions to review some concepts that you might have questions about. And then lastly, if we look at week 14, we have our final test date, and you'll note that it's been changed to a test and not an exam. You'll also have case study number 4 that's due, and I didn't finish this here because I was just confirming, but the final test will not be cumulative. So you can take a sigh of relief there because I know you guys have a lot dumped on you for this last while. The final test will be from the midterm onward. So all of the material from the midterm onward. So what we'd be looking at is essentially antimicrobials, antiparasitics, and disinfection agents and antiseptics. Sorry about the shakiness here. My computer is sitting on a diaper box and I'm sitting on my floor. I don't have a home office. Oh dear. Okay, so your final test will be all of antimicrobials right up to disinfectants and antiseptics, and it will be online. I just wanted to draw your attention down to the grading scheme because it has changed. So your reading guide online quizzes that have been done weeks 1 to 9 are worth 6.5% total. So that means that it hasn't really changed the weighting that they were put in as. What has changed is the reading guides going forward. So the reading guides going forward will be heavier in weighting. So we've got 3 reading guides and they'll be weighted at 12.5% total. So that's roughly 4 and a bit percent each. So it's increased from about 1.1% up to 4 and a bit percent each. So be aware of that. In class quizzes, I just gave you a percentage for what has already been done. Midterm did not change. Your final exam, which has actually been changed to final test, is worth 20%. I think that's down from 30%. Case study number 1, that was worth 5%. Case studies 2 and 3, those are, oh, and you know what, I didn't put, oh there, sorry, let me just change this here. So case studies 2 and 3 are worth 15%, so they're worth 7.5% each. And then case studies number 4, which is your antiparasitics assignment, that will be worth 15% in itself. So that one will be a little bit heftier. So the total is 100%, but the marks have been rerouted a little bit to ideally spread things out, give you kind of some marks that are a little bit easier to acquire, especially if you don't love online testing. Then we're moving more toward case study assignments. Okay, that is it. If you have questions, please let me know. Going forward, expect my online lecture videos. They should be, hopefully I'll have the next one rolling out in the next couple of days, and hopefully I'll have your next reading guide and reading guide quiz rolling out in the next 24 hours. When you watch my videos, be aware there may, I'll just put this here, there may be children in the background, probably singing Let It Go or any of the Frozen songs. I apologize in advance. Trying my best. We've got some help here around the house, but we are trying to maintain ourselves under quarantine just to do our part in flattening that curve of COVID-19. So I also strongly suggest the same for you, that you try to reduce your interaction with other people as much as possible. I know some people have to work at the vet clinic, that is the way it is, or some people have to go to work, but as much as possible, if you can reduce your contact with each other, social distancing, right? And hey, put on some jogging pants if you're at home and relax and walk and do things that you can do and can take comfort in as much as possible. That's it. I will talk to you very soon. All the very best.